Have you ever stopped to think if your decisions truly belong to you? If the beliefs you hold, the choices you make, and the opinions you defend are the result of your own reasoning, or if, in reality, you are simply repeating patterns that have been implanted in your mind over the years? The truth is, we think much less than we believe we do. All the time, we are being influenced by emotions, cognitive biases, distorted information, and even subtle manipulations from the media, the workplace, and the people around us. And that is precisely what the book Critical Thinking Mastery, Transform Your Mindset for Ultimate Personal Growth, by author Tyler Andrew Cole, is about. This book is a true manual for those who want to learn how to think independently, make smarter decisions, and avoid falling into the traps of automatic thinking. Most importantly, if you apply the ideas in this book, you will become a more rational, more self-aware person and much harder to manipulate. But there's an important detail. Most people believe they already think critically. Yet believing that you already know how to think is one of the biggest obstacles to truly developing this skill. Stay with me until the end, because we're going to dive into the book's key lessons and show you how mastering critical thinking can literally transform your life. The author Tyler Andrew Cole is a researcher of human behavior, focusing on how we make decisions and process information. He realized that critical thinking is an essential skill for success in all areas of life. Yet very few people truly master this art. The book was created as a practical guide for those who want to analyze information better, escape mental traps, and become more rational and strategic in everyday choices. And now comes the big question. What is the book's main message? The answer is simple yet profound. We live surrounded by information, but that doesn't mean we are learning to think better. Our brain, by nature, loves shortcuts. It seeks the quickest solution, the easiest path, the most convenient explanation. And that is exactly why we often believe in lies, accept flawed arguments, and make decisions that seem good at the moment but harm us in the long run. The book teaches us how to break this pattern and develop truly critical, conscious, and logical thinking. Let's now explore the book's key lessons and, more importantly, how to apply each of them in your real life. Lesson 1. Cognitive bias. Have you ever noticed that when we have an opinion about something, we tend to seek out only information that confirms what we already believe? This is called confirmation bias, and it is one of the most common and dangerous thinking errors. Think of someone who believes their favorite sports team is the best in the world. This person likely only watches videos of the team's victories, ignores any criticism, and avoids arguments that might challenge their opinion. The problem with this is that confirmation bias prevents growth and evolution in thinking. If you only consume information that reinforces your beliefs, you never question anything, never reconsider anything, and ultimately become a prisoner of your own ideas. The author suggests a simple yet powerful exercise. Every time you feel strongly convinced about something, stop and try to argue against your own idea. If you believe that a certain work method is the best, for example, try to find evidence that there might be better approaches. If you think you are right in a discussion, try assuming the opposing viewpoint for a few minutes. This exercise forces your brain out of its comfort zone and trains genuine critical thinking. Lesson 2. The impact of emotions on decision making. We like to think we are rational, that we make decisions based on logic. But the truth is that emotions influence our choices far more than we realize. For example, one of the biggest factors affecting our financial decisions is not knowledge about economics, but rather our emotions regarding money. If you grew up hearing that money is hard to earn and easy to lose, you are likely to develop an excessive fear of investing, taking risks, or even charging for your work. The author teaches that a true critical thinker learns to separate emotion from fact. This doesn't mean ignoring feelings, but analyzing them rationally before making a decision. A highly effective technique he teaches in the book is called second-order thinking. Whenever you are about to make an important decision, ask yourself, if I do this now, what will the consequences be a month from now, a year from now, 5 years from now? This simple question can prevent impulsive decisions based purely on momentary emotions and help you think more strategically for the future. Lesson 3. The fallacy of authority. How many times have you seen someone accept information simply because it was stated by a figure of authority? This happens all the time. People believe fake news just because it was published in a well-known newspaper. They accept weak arguments simply because they came from someone with a prestigious degree. The problem is that status does not equal truth. The author teaches that a true critical thinker does not accept arguments just because they come from someone important. Instead, they analyze the facts, the evidence, and the reasoning before drawing any conclusions. A useful exercise to avoid this trap is always to ask, if this same information were said by an unknown person, would I still believe it? This forces the brain to focus on the quality of the information, rather than the authority of the source. Lesson 4. Second order thinking. This technique helps predict the consequences of our decisions before we make them. For example, Cole mentions the case of a manager considering cutting costs by reducing staff. In the short term, this seems like a good idea since it saves money. But applying second-order thinking, he asks, what will the consequences of this decision be in 1 year? 5 years? And then he realizes that an overworked team may become demotivated, productivity may decline, the company may lose talent, and ultimately, the cost-cutting measure could result in even greater losses. This kind of reasoning prevents impulsive decisions and helps us see beyond the obvious. Now that we understand these concepts, the big question is, how do we apply critical thinking in our daily lives? Critical thinking is not something that develops only in specific moments. It must be practiced regularly to become part of your way of thinking. Cole suggests that structured reflection should be incorporated into your routine, because only through consistent practice can we identify thought patterns and improve our reasoning ability. One of the most effective methods for this is the what, so what, now what model. Here's how it works. 1Ga. What? Describe an event or situation. 2A. So what? Reflect on its impact. 3.2. Now what? Define actions to deal with it. For example, imagine you failed a presentation at work. Instead of blaming yourself or trying to forget about it, you can apply this model. What? I failed the presentation. So what? This might affect my credibility and performance. Now what? I will practice more and ask for feedback to improve next time. This simple structure helps transform any experience into a learning opportunity. Another important technique mentioned in the book is reflective conversation. By discussing your challenges and decisions with trusted people, you gain new perspectives and refine your reasoning. Having a mentor or discussion group can be an excellent way to sharpen your critical thinking skills, as it exposes your ideas to different viewpoints and intellectual challenges. The author suggests 3 fundamental steps. 1. Pause before reacting. Every time you hear impactful information, take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself, does this really make sense? What evidence supports this claim? 2. Train the opposing argument. Take a belief you hold and try to defend the opposite viewpoint. This trains your brain to think more broadly and less biasedly. 3. Observe your own biases. The more aware you become of how your mind works, the harder it is for you to be manipulated by distorted information. Critical thinking is not just a theoretical concept, it is a skill that can transform your life, making you a more rational, strategic person who is less vulnerable to external influences. Now, tell me, which of these lessons resonated most with you? Have you ever realized you fell into one of these thinking traps? If this video helped you, make sure to like it, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to learn how to think better. And if you want more content like this, let me know in the comments which book you'd like to see covered next. See you in the next video.